Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of TV Book Club's
Three, 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 three,
Evangelion,
three.
Evangelion coverage, where we're doing episodes 5 and 6, Ray Part 1 and 2. Um, I did accidentally look ahead. I didn't read any plot stuff, but I saw there's a Part 3, like
We'll get there.
in 15 episodes.
Uh, David, tell me what you remember happening from the last two episodes. Like, where exactly is your head at?
You mean from 3 and 4?
Yeah,
Okay, so
just
this
to just to get a cap.
this has been a very interesting progression too, I think, because I really liked about half of the first two episodes and then really
Mm-hmm.
didn't like the other half, and we've discussed that a bunch of times now.
Yeah,
But I loved 3 and 4, which was basically all of Shinji's melancholia and just general upset with the world and the situation and his father, and I I really enjoyed that and him trying to come to grips with basically life in general. He has to deal with the
yeah,
problems of being a teenager as well as this crazy fucked up situation.
yeah. Including being a giant 16-foot robot pilot.
Yeah. 16 foot.
I don't know how heights go. I'm sorry. I live in New York. There's towers everywhere. I'm just a small, tiny man.
It's more like 60, I imagine, at least.
You know, I don't know how
How
distance work.
big are Evangelions?
2 feet tall. It's like Pokemon when you start reading their sizes, and like the Pokedex is like this thing's 2 centimeters high.
It says they do not have a fixed size in the show and vary in size as the situation demands, going from 40 to 200 meters. So that's like 120, 130 feet upwards, not 16.
Wow.
Anyway, uh,
So let's talk about episode 5.
yes. So going into episode 5, which is coming off of Shinji running away, and then basically being brought back by the Men in Black.
Nerve
Um,
agents, you know, just
yeah,
those
I know,
people who
but
deal with stuff.
when you have besuited people showing up in sunglasses, it always is super creepy. So yeah, so episode 5, which is titled Ray Beyond the Heart or Ray 1,
Yep.
really makes that second title stand out, huh?
Yeah, no, the second titles are always my favorite titles because they're just very they're I feel like on the second time around they make a lot more sense, and that's what I'm discovering on this like third like ripple effect of just like the title is really it's so we've been doing a lot of Friends coverage at work, and I did not know that the episodes of Friends are titled the episode the one time. I don't know I think it's
It's
like the
the
one
one
time,
where, yeah.
the one where I didn't know that all the episodes were titled like that. So I think that's kind of like I look at titles a lot more. Like I used to look at titles of like Mr. Robot titles make kind of sort of sense in retrospect, but the plot summaries are usually the weird stuff where the weird stuff happens. But for especially for Evangelion, like the episode titles are very, very much important to what the episode's actually about.
Yes. And I mean, I do totally agree. And usually both titles, like, introduce different aspects or or about different aspects of the episode too. It's just this one because it's like here's the things that are specifically about Ray. It's like I get why it's a Ray 1 and 2. It's just it's like we have these like flowery titles and then you just have Ray 1, Ray 2.
Done deal.
It makes sense, but it's still silly. So yeah, so episode 5 opens with a flashback to 22 days since episode 4, 22 days previous from episode 4, and they are testing Unit 0. So this is also the first time we get to
Yep.
see Unit 0, right?
This is the first time as Unit Zero I think has been referenced,
Yes, they've talked about it,
but we've never seen it.
and it looks like a normal mecha, sort of, compared to Unit 1.
Yeah and no.
Does it also have
Units,
teeth? Did we just not see the teeth?
no, I just think it's more, it's not, it's sort of like the weird evolution of like when we get to Ava Unit 2, you get sign to see of just like each unit is sort of just and it, like obviously like the next version up. So I think of this as the skeleton part of it before, even though it has armor and everything, it feels like a very much like evolution, like the smaller version before we get to Ava Unit 1. So it has like it feels leaner, even though like Ava Unit 1 is very lean, and it's sort of just like it doesn't look as strong as when you first look at it. It doesn't look like a fightable mech. It just looks like a construction mech of some type or a
It
mech that it looks like power armor
See, I was kind of
in a
thinking
way.
it looks like a training robot from like a
Yeah,
shooter or something.
yeah,
Like just a faceless target that you would have to help you get better shooting or whatever.
yeah.
Um, oh,
Or it would be like your first mech that you get in the beginning of the game, and then you switch to another one like halfway through or something like that.
also, when they're testing it, they specifically mention how the Avas have muscles, which I didn't catch the first time I watched this episode.
Yeah, it goes along more with the human factors of like it's more along it connects the eye that we saw in the Shinji episode when the armor
Yeah,
got knocked off the eye. So it just makes it so you know that these are more biomechs instead of like gears and engines and stuff like that.
it's gross. It's real gross. I don't know why it's so gross, but it's gross.
I think yeah.
Um,
Um,
they also
but
talk. Go ahead.
oh no, I was just gonna talk about this is we kind of now get what happened to Rei previously to when Shinji gets here and why she's fucked up.
But I see. I don't entirely agree with that. I don't think it really explains at all why she's fucked up. If anything, with this, because
Well,
so we see them testing Unit Zero, and it goes berserk. Um, it attacks, which is this didn't happen when Unit One went berserk, because when it went berserk, it was in the middle of a fight. But or
yeah,
maybe it did. I don't remember. But like when Unit Zero goes berserk, like it starts clutching at its head,
yep.
which is really
And
interesting,
then
and then starts
it
attacking the observation window, which is where Gendo is.
yes, but look who's standing there with no remorse, no emotion or anything, just sits there in the window and it's like, it's not gonna hit me.
Yeah,
Or I don't really care that it's gonna hit me.
until Ray's pod ejects and like because they have like little boosters on them, but it boosts it up into the corner of the room, and then the whole pod like falls to the ground, and we see Gendo show some
Which
emotion for
is
the first time ever.
yeah, and then Gendo jumps an exorbitantly high to the ground with no like knee hurt or anything, just jumps down there and gets her out.
Yeah, and burns his hands trying to open the capsule pod because it's superheated metal.
Yep, and he breaks his glasses, which will come back later.
Yeah. Well, did they break from the heat?
I think so. It's sort of like that what happens accidentally, in which it's just like I think since they're at a normal temperature and it's sort of like super heated water, it just has like glass has this percentile chance of just like shattering. Like it's happened to me multiple times doing dishes where it's just like, especially with like cheaper older glass, it's just like if you heat it at like the right temperature and just move it in a way, it just shatters.
Yeah, I've had
Yeah.
that happen too. I sliced my hand open doing the same
Yep.
thing. Um,
It always sucks. Always sucks.
but it also like I don't know if this is just. Uh, I mean, I'm not gonna say because it's anime. It's really just because it's animated in general, or even they do this in movies sometimes. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with Gendo in that scene because like I feel like he shouldn't be able to be in that room, of course, or jump from that height, or like touch that thing and only like burn his hands, you know.
Yeah. So
So
it kind of gonna just it. I think that's a very anime thing of just being like, no, 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 this is really cool and cinematic.
yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. I know there's a lot going on, and we've discussed this, uh, but I don't know if that I'm supposed to read into that or not, but we'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah, we'll come back. There's always time to come back. Um, And then something interesting happens in this, in which it's just like Ritsuko tells Misato that like the mental instability of a pilot might have caused this. Like
Yes.
the reason that Unit Zero is out of commission is because something happened in Ray's head. Maybe.
Well, also that she's in during that. I mean, it's exposition really.
Yes.
It's not a conversation, but she also specifically. I mean, technically it is a conversation, but it's just exposition. Anyway, she also notes that Ray has no past.
No.
Um, though she says it like it's been erased by the government, but I think there's more going on
There
there.
there's a there it's a Ray it keeps adding to the mystery of like who the fuck is Ray?
Yeah.
Like who is this emotionless cyborg walking around doing things that she's told all the entire time? Another note that they make during this like exposition moment is that angels have a 99.8% resemblance to humans.
Okay, so that's not during this exposition moment, because then we fast forward to the present,
Yeah.
and they're analyzing because they've brought back the
Sham's shell, the
yeah with
previous angel.
the 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 penis manta ray thing, right? That was that
Penis
one.
angel.
Yeah, the penis angel. Um, and they're analyzing it. And yeah, they specific. Well, it's weird. So I don't
Okay.
remember
Go.
because it's they get very what's the word for this where it's basically
Alright.
just nonsense science, but it makes sense in the context. Pseudoscience,
Pseudoscience?
yeah. They get very pseudosciency, um, and basically say that like the angel material basically exhibits properties like light, except then when you further analyze it, it has the same sequences and markers and they specifically say wavelengths and both in the original and the newer subtitled versions
Yep.
that match
Yeah, waves.
99.89% to human DNA, which is really the whole point you're supposed to get out of that conversation,
Yep. They're very close to humans, which is super weird.
while also
Why
being
so
super
close?
alien.
Yes.
Yes, why so close?
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
and then that's when and Shinji notices the burns on Gendo's hands and asks about them.
he doesn't believe that his father would do anything nice for anyone because Shinji hates his father.
Yes.
But he does learn about the previous Berserk incident, and I don't. The weird thing is he doesn't really connect it to the point where he went berserk, so I don't think that connects very well. Like he doesn't realize that maybe his emotions have something to do with this Evangelion.
Yeah. Um, and I'm not sure how. I think that like he was told that it went berserk. I don't know how present he was for that.
Yeah, but if they keep telling him these things go berserk, I don't know. I would be like as a person piloting these things, I'll be like, how does it go berserk? I can't have this thing going berserk because people might get hurt. Since he very much feels like he just doesn't want anyone to get hurt
Yeah.
as much as he likes being told what to do.
Um, we see Suzuhara and Ida again being pervy 14-year-olds talking about Ray with Shinji.
Yep.
I mean, I'm overstating that. They're just talking about women in general. It's not like super gross, but they're also 14-year-olds, so it's a little gross.
Yeah.
But it was just basically like a brief pseudo comedic moment to break up all of this dense discussion.
Pseudoscience.
Yeah. Um, which was fine. I like Suzuhara and Ida. I like seeing that aspect of Shinji's life too. Like it is because he is a kid. Like it's important to place him with other children to see like what's going on with him. Like
Yeah.
every
How does
we
he
have all of
compare
these
to like normal people?
yeah normal people also in a not as but still fucked up world.
Yeah.
Um, And then I had a question for you. They specifically mention when they're testing, because then they're testing. Oh no, I guess it's later. They say that they're uploading the data to Balthazar and Melchior. Are those other like parts of Nerve? What is that?
That is a part of something that will become very important later. That is the thing that Risku deals with, which is it's a part of a three computer system. So sorry, I'm
Okay,
trying
because
to.
they talked about the I
The
didn't write it
Magi.
down.
Sorry, that is the Magi.
Okay,
It's a,
yeah, they specifically
so
mentioned the Magi supercomputer, so I wasn't
and
sure.
yeah, those are pieces of it. So it has three pieces of it, and and so the way that the Magi works is that there are three independent AIs, and it has in order for it to say anything. So basically, they control Tokyo 3 in a weird way, also secretly the government, because there are three of them. So in order for anything to pass, if you ask them for any resources or like ask them any questions, it has to be a 2 out of 3 vote.
Wait, Josh, are you telling me that the Magi are just the Patriots?
Look, I didn't want to say that, but yeah, it's basically the fucking
You
Patriots.
were waiting for me to say that?
No, I kind of was waiting for you to like say something because it's just like shadow government ruled by AI is like every weird. I don't know. It's heightened lately, but yeah, it's basically that.
So for anyone who doesn't know it, the Patriots are the secret rulers of the government in Metal Gear Solid 2. Well, and I guess they keep going, huh?
Yes,
Yeah, because 4 is also about the Patriots.
yes. You delete them.
Yeah. Anyway,
Uh,
you do delete them in a microwave tunnel.
yep. Great part. Watch that end fight scene every so often when I'm like, I kind of need to watch it again.
Oh, it's such a great
Uh,
fight scene.
it's such a stupid anime fight scene on the top of a goddamn ship with the Mountain Rushmore on it. Of okay, anyway.
They made video games anime and it was the best.
Yep. Um. So the new IDs. We should probably talk about this.
Oh, so well,
That
right before that,
yeah.
Shinji notices because he's like prepping to test Unit 1 as well while they're testing Unit 0, or they're getting ready to test Unit 0, and he sees Rei and Gendo talking with like they have a
He's getting that
relationship.
jealousy.
Yeah, they actually like seem to care about each other, and it's like you could tell it's really bothering him because this is his dad who doesn't really give a shit about him.
Why doesn't my dad give a shit about me and he gives a shit same age
Yeah.
as I am?
So, and then before we get to the ID part, we get another comedy slice of life scene.
I forget
Um,
which one of this is.
this is the one where Misato makes curry
Oh, with fucking beer in it.
with. Was there? They never say that there was beer in it, but they basically just say that she ruined it somehow. Because
She
Ritsuko's there, and she's like, "How the fuck did she?" And she says, "Boil in the bag food," which I'm like, "That's not how curry works." But whatever.
no,
But
but
it's instant curry, and it's super easy to make. I've made it a bunch of times, and yeah, she fucked it
yes,
up. And she
it's
puts her curry directly into instant noodles.
yep. She finds it edible. No one else is happy.
Yeah. Um, which is fine, but again, I don't like Pan Pan.
That's okay.
Because Pan
That's
Pan
fair.
only exists for comedic relief. Like
Sometimes you just need a little bit of that cut. That's all.
you're the one who was like, yeah, Pen Pen is showing Misato as like, helping this government initiative. Why is she feeding him curry and beer? Like a penguin wouldn't eat that, especially this special science penguin that she's
Well, you
taking
know
care of.
what? Listen, no one knows what to do with the penguins because all scientists are busy with angels. Just let
Yeah,
her figure it out. It's okay.
it's a bad joke. It's a bad joke. I don't think it works.
It's a good, great character. Bad joke. Got it.
I've already turned the page on Misato. I just think that was a stupid joke and unnecessary.
Yeah.
So, Ritsuko asked Shinji to drop off Rei's new security ID card. Um, oh, and they specifically mention how he keeps like staring at a picture of her.
He stares at her a lot. Like in the previous scenes where like he's staring at her with Gendo, he's staring at her at school.
He's
He's
creepy.
very
Shinji's
it's creep
creepy.
Shinji is creepy, but I think it's just he's not like openly like I'm creepy. It's just I think from an outsider's perspective, it's very creepy of like the things that he does, just stare at people and just analyzes, but he doesn't really react in a way of just like I don't think he takes the things that he views and just absorbs it. I think he just does
Fair.
it. It's sort of like what are those I don't know. It's like the type of people that like it's not serial killers, but like the is it sociopaths who like
Sociopath.
basically yeah, who like basically mimic people around them to just
Yes,
make them
that's
feel yeah.
sociopath.
Okay, great. So yes, it's stuff like that of just like a little bit of a sociopath that I don't think sociopath should use the word, but like a little bit of a sociopath tendency with him with certain stuff. But the ID cards are interesting because it's sort of just like couldn't someone else do it? Like Shinji, why does Shinji have to do it?
Why did they
And
mail it?
yeah, why didn't they mail or send one of the fucking hundreds of nerve goons to go do it? Or like there are plenty of other people to do, but why specifically Shinji? And I kind of want you to remember that when we get further in.
Okay. Also, Ritsuko. I don't know if this is in both versions because basically the way I'm watching the show is I'm watching it the first time in the original Japanese sub,
Yeah.
and then when I take my notes, I'm watching it in English on Netflix. Just because
Mm-hmm.
it's easier to type when I don't have to read the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So
It
if there are differences, that's why. But basically, at least in the English dub, Ritsuko specifically says like, "Oh, Ray's awkward," and Shinji's like, "What do you mean? Like awkward at what?" And she just says, "Awkward at life."
yeah, I think that's a very nice way Ray is. Ray isn't awkward. Ray just does not
Or fit,
care.
or yeah, she's very weird. She seems checked out of everything.
Yes, but not like, but that's just her nature being checked out of anything. It's not like she was never not checked out of anything.
Yeah, they get into this a little bit more in episode 6 as well. So Shinji goes to drop off Ray's ID card. He walks in on her as she's getting out of the shower, and
That that entire scene is very much just like it, it makes Shinji it's not an endearing moment. It's like the inverse of something endearing of just like he's violating people's spaces while trying. It's very nice guy ish, a very just like nice guy violating somebody's space and being weird about it.
he's Michael Scott in that scene.
Yeah,
Yeah, super awkward. Doesn't Did something on accident. Doesn't know how to save himself. Is just flailing.
and it's a just on and on, just a mess. Like it's sort of, but some has like a little bit of the weirdness of Evangelion that I don't like. Of just like there's some like little bit of perversion, but it's always at the expense of the female characters.
Yeah. Yes. All, when it's at least in this scene with Ray, it's I didn't think it was that bad specifically because this scene is highlighting like normally this would be, I mean, especially for anime of this era, would be a comedic slapsticky scene. But because Ray is so weird, you don't get any of that. She's like because you even see this in the scene afterwards where they're on the giant escalators together. What the fuck is up with those?
Oh, those escalators are great. They're great for having dialogue and not talking to people all the way, and also having really distant shots of
Yeah.
people just not being on the same wavelength. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, no, they're super weird, but I like them too a lot.
Yeah.
But and you can tell he feels really bad about what happened because basically like uh she Ray like goes to confront him and he like stumbles and falls and accidentally pulls out her underwear drawer which flings them all over the room and he falls down on top of her and
It
he like feels really bad about this and she just doesn't seem to care at all or like think anything of it.
no.
It's really
It
to
is
highlight
just
yeah.
her day. She deals with what she does. She goes through her day. She has to go to school. She doesn't listen to anybody. Very much like an abrasive type of woman in a way. It's just
Well,
like,
I don't even
but
think abrasive, just like non-existent, basically.
yeah, which is kind of in contrast to the other women in the series so far. Of like, you have Misato, who's very much like, "Hey, how's it going? What?" Greet the world with a smile and some sarcasm, and like Ritsuko does it from like a technical angle, but Ray has no.
Anything.
Ray's character is non having non characteristics,
Yeah. But
which
Ray,
is
but we do see Ray express a little bit of emotion because Shinji badmouths Gendo and she slaps him.
yeah. But that and that's the weird part about like the weird. It's the Gendo relationship with Ray. That's when I the first time through was sort of just like, this is kind of weird.
It's very weird.
Like like what does Gendo want from this 13, 14 year old? What does this 14-year old want from Gendo? Because she has Gendo's glasses still from that incident, and she keeps them like a treasure, like a tchotchke or something, or just like something that she holds dear, sort of like
Um,
not like a prize, but it's just like a memento from a moment.
yeah. So then Ray is testing Unit Zero when the fifth angel is spotted.
My boy Ramiel. Woo!
So they suspend the tests and prepare Unit One. And yes, the fifth angel, you said its name is Ramiel,
Yep.
is a giant. Um, it's basically, if you've ever seen the movie Sphere, it's like that, except instead of being a sphere, it is an eight-sided die. So I don't know what the name
The
of that shape is, but that's an
octahedron.
octahedron.
It's such a good boy.
It's a pyramid underneath upside. It's an upside down pyramid underneath a regular righted pyramid,
Yeah.
and it has a
Uh,
giant
the
fucking cannon that takes out Unit One in a single shot.
Yep. And it's awesome because I know we haven't talked about rebuilds yet, but like in the original version, it's a little bit different of just how its mechanism works. Like it changes like its shape when it shoots, and it's sort of one of those things where the AT fields around it are so strong that you can't shoot it directly or attack it directly. So it just because every time, like especially in these early episodes, they always let the UN take their first shots at it before the Avas get activated, and just to get like a kind of a view of like how this one works. Because so far, all the angels have been different in how they work. So this one just seems impenetrable until the laser comes out with the core in the center.
Yeah. So, um, but that ends episode five. Is Unit One being blasted by. At first, I thought it was a laser, but they specifically say it is an accelerated particle cannon.
Yeah, it's a fucking railgun.
Yeah, it's a railgun. With and so it's like, and Shinji's just screaming, and then so we start episode six, which is Showdown in Tokyo 3, also Ray 2.
Ray 2.
Um, and we see, and this opens with Ramiel positioning itself in like the center of Tokyo 3 and like dropping a huge drill. How did it fit in there?
Um, there are if you look at a lot like it just makes a drill. Like I think it's like the internal things are just like I think it's like kind of cross dimensional, but also they're
I
just
know, angels
weird.
are weird. It's not a real
Angels are weird.
question. I just thought about that now. I'm like, oh, that drill's like really big. Because we also,
Yeah,
I don't know if they might have said this before, but so much information in Evangelion is presented in basically background chatter.
and also stuff that appears on screens, and it's just very easy to miss discussions like, do you remember them talking about the Marduk project?
Vague, I recognize that term, but I don't remember what it was.
yeah, it's stuff like that that gets passed around. We'll come back to this later, but it's just like stuff like that comes more and more often as the series progresses, and it sort of just talks about like the AT field, and then it's just like little tiny things just put into the background for the most part. Like they discussed the geofront finally this time instead of just showing video. Like I remember there's the when Tokyo 3 goes under, so Tokyo 3 has like an undershell, and then there's actual like Tokyo, like that's where Nerve's headquarters is, which is just under a layer
Well, not just
below
layers,
Tokyo 3.
like this show does have a problem with space, I think, and like spatial relations.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense until they say it, but then it sort of
But
just
even then, like
also
we we've
the physics are weird.
we've seen that Tokyo 3 exists in two states. It exists above ground, and then when emergencies happen, the buildings lower. And we've seen the buildings lower on the like because there's like a giant underground cavern that I think we've seen before because I think we saw the
Ye-
buildings lower upside down into it.
yes,
But then in this episode, they specifically talk about how in between
the
the
geofront.
surface and the geofront's the underground space, right?
Yeah, so basically all of the buildings go through the geofront in order to get under where near nerve is where the buildings are.
But that is so much space.
Yes.
Because there's
Yes it
layers
is.
and layers. It's basically they've buried. I don't even know how they did this. Like they had to like dig like 3 miles into the ground to then layer giant metal shields, which also have like holes in them for the buildings to slide through.
Yeah, and then also those are the racks where the Evangelions get launched up to. That's where like sometimes they, which I think will show up later, in which they like down pieces of the city in order for the Avas to do what they need to do. It is very much just like armor, buildings, and then all of this below it is just Nerve
Yeah, because
headquarters.
this story, this episode has a ticking clock. Because this drill is drilling through these shield layers down into the geofront, and we have to stop it before that happens.
Because the number one reason that Nerve is around is due to the fact that no angels can reach Nerve,
Yes. Um.
and every angel so far is trying to get to Nerve headquarters.
So it's not a big deal. Like it doesn't really bother me. Um. It's just weird. This
Okay,
spatial
what's
stuff.
weird?
The spatial stuff.
Yeah,
These
I
technical
think
details.
I think it's the same thing of just like in certain movies sometimes like the set of disbelief just needs to be put there. I think that's it. But
Yeah. Which
since the rules in this universe are always very stated, but they're also just one of those things where they're like not really repeated upon. Of just like there are little tiny things like they never mentioned like why are the blood all red and fucked up, like those things they talk about once and then they just are like okay we explained it once we don't have to explain it again.
yeah. Even if the explanation doesn't necessarily make any sense, it's been explained.
Yes.
So, which is it's fine.
Um,
It's not, it's such an unimportant detail of this show.
yeah. It's technical
So,
jargon that is sort of goes over being like, we explain what this is. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
then we
Just
get
don't.
a moment that I'm sure you loved, and I actually really like too, which is we get to see Misato be awesome because she's the
Yes, but
one
we
that
also get
comes
to
up with.
see bureaucracy.
I love bureaucracy.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said it.
Yeah, that's it's why Shin Godzilla is so good. I mean, I don't like
So after
bureaucracy. I
getting
like seeing
boiled
people
alive,
successfully deal with it.
yeah, after getting boiled alive, Shinji's like basically out for a while, and this is when Misato comes to the plan.
So yeah, she comes up with the plan to take out the Angel. She's going to borrow basically a different type of prototype railgun, um, and have the Ava file it from because basically Ramiel has a
AT field?
it's not just an AT field. He basically has an awareness like a sphere of influence where anything that enters it he automatically fires on.
Yep.
So the plan is to position the Ava outside of that sphere so that he won't automatically fire and fire this cannon at it. Because and it's such a pinpoint cannon, it should be able to pierce through the AT field and hit the core.
Yep.
It's going to
How much power does this gun need, David?
it. They have to turn off. They have to black out all of Japan to power this gun. I'm not entirely sure what that means in a post Second Impact world, but that's we see what looks like a fully occupied Japan turn off. We get a space shot, like a view from space where you see Japan go dark, which is neat.
Yeah.
And then they're going to shield the Ava from the cannon, from Ramiel's cannon, by basically using the heat shield from a space shuttle that they've reworked to be a like body shield, which
Yep.
is neat.
And it can withstand Ramiel's beam for 17 seconds. A lot of time in this episode. A lot of timing in that.
Yes. Ray. The plan is for Ray to and Unit Zero to hold the shield, and for Shinji to fire the cannon because Shinji has a higher sync rate with Unit One. So and they need absolute precision. And this comes to a complaint of mine in this episode,
Go on.
which is we get a scene where Ritsuko specifically tells Shinji, like, particle cannons don't work like normal guns. You have to specifically account for gravity and magnetic fields and the
And
curvature
the
of the
Earth's rotation.
Earth. And then goes on to, and then Shinji's like, well, I don't know how to do that. I've never practiced. And she says, just wait for the indicators to line up and pull the trigger. It's like, why did you worry him and tell him you have to worry about all of this shit if the computer is going to do it for him?
Because Shinji. I don't know why they told him that.
That was really stupid to me. Like, it like, sure, make the kid anxious when he doesn't even have to worry about the thing you're telling him. Like,
But it kind of just. He needs the push.
that he doesn't need the push. Like, you're just freaking him out more. You're not pushing him. You're making it worse.
But remember, Shinji does what he's told to do no matter what so far.
Yeah. Also, we see a scene where Pen Pen is outside.
Why are you so mean on Pen Pen? He can do whatever he wants.
Why
He's
is
watching
he?
the power's going out. He has nowhere to be.
I don't. I don't know why he exists.
This man's so hard on Bird.
I
So
love
hard on the
Penguin.
Bird.
This is a bad Penguin.
So hard on the Burb. The
Um,
Burb just wants to be loved.
he lives in a refrigerator. Why is he outside in the middle of Japanese summer?
He just wants to know. So mean to him.
Because he is everything
So
that's wrong with this show.
okay, all right, we're gonna keep going. Um, Shinji wakes up. Ray's already there. Gives him the 411 in the quickest sense of, "Hey, we're leaving soon. You got to suit up. If you're not gonna pilot the Ava, you need to get this done. Goodbye."
Yeah. She also says that she has nothing outside of the Ava. It's her link to everything.
God, it's so
Because
annoying.
Shinji asks, why does she do this? Why does she pilot it? And that's what she says, is that this is all she has.
And the funny thing is, she says goodbye like affirmative. I'm ready to die.
Yeah. It's all foreshadowing, I think. So they suit up, they fire the gun, and Ramiel fires his cannon, and they're like, the bullets are like, or whatever, the particles are going towards each other, and they do, like, it warps like space in a really cool way, and both shots miss.
I think no, he missed. He wait. I don't think
No,
he does. He miss the first shot.
he misses the, well, because they both fire, and when they both fire, like, you see the two beams going towards each other, and they like
I think
warp
yeah, they do
around,
cancel.
and then
Sorry,
they both miss because of that.
yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm getting confused with rebuild. Excuse me.
Oh, they take it out one shot in the rebuild.
No, it's not one shot. It's just it's different because I think he does it in two shots in Rebuild.
Well, that's exactly what happens here because the second shot hits it.
Oh no, in the okay, that's why I get confused because in the first he does it in two shots, but the first one he raises it, which
Yes.
is yeah.
Um,
What? I guess I got my shots mixed up.
so then the gun has to cool down, and Ramiel starts firing, and we see the impact against the heat shield, and it slowly starts warping. And as soon as the gun's ready, Shinji fires again, and it takes out the angel, but not
You,
before it did some.
um,
It damages Unit Zero.
I was about to say it's just like there is a point Shinji's about to get fired on, if I'm remembering this correct, and it's just Ray gets melted.
Basically, like it's not like completely melted or anything. Like it destroys the shield, and right
It's fucked
before,
up.
yeah, and then it like starts to melt like the outer casing of Unit Zero. Like any longer, and it probably would have killed Ray. But because
Yes.
the gun was recharged, it stopped it just in time. Shinji flies out of his, not literally flies, but he like runs out of his Ava to go open the hatch on Ray's pod in a scene that's incredibly reminiscent of what Gendo did. Um,
Pops rat.
yeah. Oh, I think is this where she's like, I don't know how to react in these situations, and he's like, just smile, or did they have that
Yes.
conversation? Okay.
Yes. That's basically how it ends. Like she asks Shinji, "Why are you crying?" And it's like, "I'm very sorry. I don't know what to do at a time like this. You can just smile." Yeah, that's the quote.
Yeah. So
Shinji smiles for the first time.
he smiled before. It was a genuine smile, though, this time.
Yeah, which is weird
It's
because
a
Ray's showing emotion.
yeah. I mean, we've also seen her show emotion once before.
Hmm. But this is the first time she's done it with Shinji.
Yeah, with anyone other than Gendo.
Yep.
So uh, it's interesting. I'm enjoying the show
It's
now.
very interesting right now because this is where it starts to kick in. This
Yeah.
is also the first time that Avas are working together.
Yes. Oh, I can
Excuse me.
also say, um, I don't even know how to respond to that, Josh.
Respond to what?
Your hiccup.
That's a hiccup. It happens.
I know, but there's I can't say like bless you or
Continue.
yeah.
Continue.
Um, no, I want to talk about this for 10 more minutes.
Okay.
Um, it's and I wanted to go back to just briefly mention the thing about the slice of life scenes because like it didn't really bother me as much in this episode because it wasn't half the episode.
Mm-hmm.
But we're moving further into what I understand that Evangelion is, and I keep liking it more and more as we do.
Yeah.
Because it's really and it's able to explain so much of his mystery with just like government bureaucracy and like layers of secrecy and stuff.
Yeah.
Though I
It's
feel like more than Gendo know what's going on at Nerve and sorry, Nerve. And I want to know why they're doing it too.
yeah.
I feel like
It's
Misato is on the up and up. Not Misato, sorry, Ritsuko is on the like she knows what's going on and I don't know like
that's another thing of just like the people who know and the people who don't know, like the divide it's kind of like the divide is kind of getting there. Like at the
so
current moment in your head, like who do you think is in the know and who do you think doesn't?
well we really only have a handful of characters. Like I know they've introduced especially some of the like the other male characters because I'm pretty sure I've seen some of these people in the opening credits but I have no idea who they are.
Yeah.
But basically, the only people I'm really conscious of outside of the pilots and the other kids are Gendo. Misato and Ritsuko, and I feel like Misato doesn't know everything that's going on.
Mm.
She's like, is that you telling me she does?
No, I'm just saying she doesn't know it. At this point, it's
Okay.
very she doesn't know it. She knows some things, but she doesn't know
She
as much
knows
as
enough to
Gendo and
do
Risco.
her, yeah, she knows enough to do her job because she's basically like Gendo and Ritsuko are like the scientific development, like they're the ones making these things so that everyone can survive, and Misato's the person to take the things they make and put them into action for the practical purposes. So Misato
Yeah.
doesn't need to know all the research, the behind the scenes stuff. She just needs to know what they make and how it works so she can utilize
Hmm.
it to save everyone. At least that's my understanding at this current moment.
Yeah.
So
And that's pretty much where it is currently.
good. I like being right.
Good one, dude.
So, um, but yeah, so I'm really excited to keep
Eh,
going and see what happens next.
yep. Any thoughts on what you think is gonna happen?
I mean, I already had my theory for what happens at the end, but no, I don't. I don't know if it's episode 7, but I know in one of the next two episodes, Asuka shows up, who
Yes.
is the stereotypical, or at least in my understanding, the stereotypical plucky anime girl.
No,
No,
not stereotypical plucky anime girl. It is. She is the epitome of tsundere, which is hard on the outside, soft in the center. She's best
okay.
girl.
So there's a different type of stereotypical anime girl.
Yes. You will, once you meet her, you will understand the type of
Okay.
anime
Um,
girl she is.
but beyond that, I'm really not sure because we have 20 more episodes plus a movie. Um,
You're trying to figure out where
when I'm gonna start understanding more of, and when my theories are gonna start playing out, and I wonder how close to the end it's gonna be.
yeah.
Um, but just because even in these first 6 episodes, we varied wildly episode to episode what they're like. There is no set formula.
Well, there isn't, but there's sometimes like it goes from either between character study or monster at the week of the
Yeah,
week currently.
I I had it originally described to me like Eva hits this part where it's basically doing Monster of the Week with like weird shit going on the fringes, and then it coalesces towards the end and it's all weird shit. But really, what I didn't understand was is it's not Monster of the Week. Or if if you watch it like we're doing it, which is in hour chunks,
Hmm.
it is Monster of the Week. Where the other half is yeah character study, because that's what we're getting is we're getting monster character piece, monster character. Well, this
Hmm.
time it was flipped because we got the character stuff first.
Yep.
But and that's really interesting because you get because I like the monster of the week stuff in Ava is pretty fascinating because for being a mech show where it's really kind of a lot like the basic structure at least of this part is a lot like something I don't want to say Power Rangers because it's only like the second half, but it's like okay, giant fight, we need to deal with this.
Hmm.
But because we're fighting the angels, they're so weird and
There's no set parameters for an angel except that you know their motivation.
you know there's a core to destroy to stop them. Like that's
Yeah, that's the
their
entire thing.
attacking
Like,
nerve, you have to hit the core. Everything else can be different. Because every single one we've seen has been wildly different.
yep. But they all had the same purpose:
Yeah. So
destroy Nerve.
it's really, really fascinating.
Hmm.
But and it seems out of an era like not like being from the era but like displaced in the era it was created,
Yeah,
like honestly like something like Twin Peaks where it's like this is really interesting and I can't believe you did this when you did it.
yeah. And as we get further, I feel like you're going to see more of the influences after this that really come into play of the really, really like importance of the series.
Yeah, well I mean if you want to talk about the series, like this series also feels heavily inspired to me, at least in its subversive nature as something like Devilman.
Mm,
Not the original one, not the bad Netflix show.
I didn't watch either.
Okay. Well, I read the manga because it was
Hmm.
very cutting edge in the 70s when it was written. Don't watch the anime; it's bad.
Wasn't planning to.
Good. But yeah, so I like this. I'm really excited to keep going. I'm excited to. I'm actually really excited to recover the material in the rebuild because I want to see it with modern like
Hmm.
animation and in widescreen and HD.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's exciting. I'm excited for next time when we covered 7 and 8, whose
Yep.
titles I haven't looked up.
Ready for it.
Yeah. All right. So we will be back with that.
Next week or the week
Bye.
after.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bye.